Alrighty, how are we all doing? Welcome along to this evening's Q&A. I'm just going to let everybody come in, and we're currently streaming on other platforms as well. So I'm basically going to get this going. So for those of you here, you're very welcome. You can be thinking about questions. We have a few questions coming in, so I'm going to get this going from here as well. Okay. Omnipresent. So you can chill for a second. Those of you who are coming in, welcome. I'm going to get this here. Okay. There we go. All right, so I'm going to put this here. Hey, William, what is up? How are we doing? Hey there, I see another comment in. How are you doing? Alrighty, so let's get everything set. So we got some cool questions coming in. Oh, I'm just getting my bearings here as we're live on 3 platforms. So we'll be starting in 5 minutes and we'll get it going from there. There we go. Okay. So where is everybody tuning in from? William's coming in from Vermont. That's awesome. For any of you not familiar, I'm Galway, Ireland. So where's the rest of you from? Send a comment. Okay, so. Okay. Great. Now, so I have my questions written out here. There. Okay. Right. So, hey Bigelow, how are you doing? You're very welcome. And I hope, is my audio coming through okay on YouTube? Just give me a quick thumbs up in the chat. Trying a different microphone this evening. Freezing on the chat, thank you. Hopefully it will behave a bit more. Okay, so, and welcome to everybody on TikTok as well, and everybody on Instagram. So we're pretty much good to go. I got a question on triads there. Okay, cool. So just could you elaborate a bit more? What about triads specifically? Is it how they work? A bit more on use cases. And I'm going to grab my guitar. Okay, so we are live. We are good. Okay, so okay. I see some freezing comments here. Give me 1 second. 1 second, YouTube. Interesting. Okay. Hey Noel, what is up? Okay. Rightio, we'll get it going. Right, so, and I'm going to check here. Okay. William and Noel in the house from inside, TSG. All right, so I see another question came in. Perfect. Lads, I'm just seeing your comments here. All right, so so let's get it going. You're very welcome along. This is, I think, the 26th live stream I've done in total on the internet, so you're all very welcome. Now, the main thing is, wherever you're tuning in from, just post the comments in the chat. A suggestion for our comments is like what's going on for you right now, where you're struggling, what you need to help with specifically. So here's an example. If you were to comment chord changes is one thing to say as a question. And I can talk in general on chord changes. But if you were to say, I'm struggling going from G to D7 on guitar, that is like laser focused. And that way I can give you a laser focused answer and give you laser focused actions so you can go and make laser focused progress. So little pointer. So alrighty, so YouTube crew, has the stream settled a small bit since? I hope it has. Yeah, okay. So here we go. So first question that came in was a question from, yeah, everything's good. Excellent. Thank you. Thanks, Bigelow. That is excellent. So first question that came in was from Noel, and it was around playing guitar standing up. Now, yeah, so for this one, I'm going to share with everybody that if you haven't played guitar standing up yet, it's a bit of a trip. Like the reason it's a struggle, first of all, is when you're seated here, I'll do this. When you're seated here with your guitar, it's like, it's this close to your body. Now watch if I was to stand up with the guitar exactly like this. You see here, it looks a bit weird, like it looks very high up on my body. But if I go here, that's suddenly more natural, like how people play it. So that little drop there from here to here is enough for the arm, if we look at my strumming arm, enough for the arm to go from here to this. It feels a lot different on your strumming hand and a lot different than making chords. And things seem farther away. So that's why players struggle with it. Now, what can you do about it? The first thing I'd say is, like, when I wanted to learn to play standing up, I basically went all in on it. I basically said, right, I'm just going to play standing up for a whole week or a whole 2 weeks here. And I did that. And yeah, it was rough at the start. Couldn't play as well. Ability was definitely compromised. But after a period of time, and I don't know when this comes, it's like the singing and playing. After a period of time, you'll get it. So Noel, what I'd suggest is pick a song you find pretty easy to play with strumming chords. And notice I've picked like one specific playing scenario, and just stand up anymore for a couple of days doing it. I used to do some of my learning sitting down still during that period, but playing, I'd stand up then and I'd go to play. So that's what I'd suggest. And I'd start with chords. It'd be easy. I know you play lead as well, so it'd be easy to try and be doing everything and then not know how well you're doing. So pick something right now and record yourself, and then basically record yourself, and from there just put that video aside and then spend a couple of days playing standing up and record yourself and look at the videos back to back, and you'll start to see the improvements from there. But just start with the one thing. Hope that helps. It is tricky. Like it's like if I do here, I just saw somebody say play something. So like play Shape You by Ed Sheeran. Okay, I'll give that as an example actually. So if I was doing Shape You by Ed Sheeran, I was going sitting down. I was going, I'm in love with the shape of you, push and pull like a magnet do. I'm in love with your body. Last night you were in my room. I bet you. Right, you get the idea. Like, I'm still here, and what I'm doing is I'm keeping a lot more of an eye on the chords as I'm standing. So you got to heighten your awareness as well as your practice on the standing up. For anybody who wants I have a lesson on my YouTube that does the. I got a lesson on my YouTube if you want to look that up. Just look up Shape You on our School of Guitar page. Right, hope that helps with that. Next question came in earlier this week, and it was around the caged system. What is it and how does it work? So, the caged system on guitar, if we take C-A-G-E-D, and I'm actually going to, and for anybody who wants to tune in on YouTube, there's diagrams going on here, okay? So what I'm sketching right now is, I'm just going to say the cage system is made up of a C shape, an A G, an E, and a D. And the idea with this is, a lot of players would have learnt bar chords with an E shape and an A shape. Now let me explain. So if I was to get this, if I was to get a C major bar chord and I play that there, well, the shape is E. Now if I was playing out my other C major bar chord here, the shape is A. Well, when you think about it, those are two of the most common bar chord shapes you'd see played. But that's only 2 out of the 5 main shapes. The caged system is 5 different shapes. We talked about A and E there. The other one that would be well known would be the C shape, because it's used in Under the Bridge. So if I go like this, that beginning shape there, you see it's almost like I have a capo on with 3 fingers. And because of that, that's where the C shape comes from. Now, with the cage system, you could learn all of these 5 shapes. And I'd recommend you learn them. I'd recommend you learn the C shape after the A shape and the E shape. So you'd have 3 out of the 5. The D shape would be used a lot, like if you played Here Comes the Sun without a capo, that'll be the D shape there. So you see the names of the shapes are pretty self-explanatory, but how they link up is as follows. If I start here with the C chord, an open C chord, that's C, the caged system goes in the order it's named. So we've C, and then you'd play your C major bar chord here. You notice our shape is A. This is the G shape. This is the one I rarely use. It's rotten. That's another way to play. So now we're on G. Then we get E here. Quite familiar. And then D up here. Right, you get the idea. So there was 5 different ways to play that one chord. So that's C, 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 and finally. Right, now, that's what they are. How it works is they're all interconnected. When one shape ends, the other begins. So they're all interwebbed. Why would you want to learn them? Well, some songs use them, that's one reason. But a second reason I like a lot is when you begin to think about it, if there's 5 different ways to play any one chord, so those 5 different places on the fretboard I played a C. Think about it. That means there's 5 different places on the fretboard to play any chord at any one time. Which means that you could map around the fretboard using all these different combinations of shapes. Here's an example. If I wanted to go from this bar chord here, a C, to an F, up to G, and back to C. Well, I could also go like this. I go C, and down to F. That's my D shape. So now instead of moving around the fretboard trying to find the next chord, you could actually stay in the one position and use whichever version of the chord there is, because now you're a player who'd know 5 shapes. So that's a brief outline about the cage system, why it's worth learning, how to connect them up, and if I was to put it in one sentence, like if it was a tweet, I'd say learning the cage system means you can be your own capo. That's it in a nutshell. You put your index on and you just think about what shape you need from there. Alrighty, we've one more question here that came in. Then I'm going to go to the comments. I see some questions coming in. A practice routine. I got a question around a a practice routine. So I'll go to the board for this on YouTube, but I'll describe what I'm doing here too for everybody else watching. So for any practice routine, you want to do work on your chords. You want to do work with your other hand as well. The other hand is primarily around patterns, whether that's strumming patterns, whether that's picking patterns, whether that's finger picking patterns. And then with the chords, you've new shapes, you've progressions. And then on the other side of the equation, we've songs. We've songs you can do, songs you want to do, and songs that someday you will do. These categories are important because the songs you can do are the feel-good things. And I generally say, finish your practice session with the feel-good stuff that you're like, oh yeah, I can play guitar. And do the other harder stuff, like the want to do songs, put those in the middle of your practice routine. Whatever it takes to get you on the fretboard, to get you on guitar to practice, start with that. For some players out there, it could be a challenge. You could be like, that's a challenge, I'm enjoying chipping away at it. For other players out there, it could be, well, I like starting with an easy song because it makes me enjoy stuff, and then I'll do some work. So you got to figure that out for yourself, but your practice routine would be the chords with the shapes and the progressions, then some patterns. And really with the patterns, I'm drilling, building that muscle memory. So whatever the pattern is. So if I was doing a finger picking pattern and I want to learn this one, okay, part of my practice routine would be around just drilling that pattern on one chord. And then if I had a problem with the chord change, I drill the chord change. So I'm looking for the opportunities for growth. I'm looking for the places where there's errors, and I'm attacking them head on through drilling. Then I have the feel good stuff like songs, and I'll go and play those. So now the question that came in was about a practice routine. So I'm giving you a broad answer. If you want specifics, nitty gritty, tactical stuff, just drill it down. Tell me what it is exactly about your practice routine. But that'll be a start, and make it manageable, make it short, make it something that you want to show up and do. And schedule it in your calendar as well. And tell a friend you're going to do it. Like that, your odds of following through with your practice routine. Because the reality is, I could give you the best practice routine in the world, but if it sits there, it's no good. So whatever it is, just make sure you're going to show up and do it. Now, I'm going to go here to comments just to see. We got everybody. Okay. Very good, William. Yes, I've worn my guitar high as well for playing lead. It's class. Okay, and okay. Oh, sorry. Every time I move, man, that's weird. Okay, the recording will be up of this again. I'm sorry about that. Okay, when I do a bar chord, is that like a capo? So a question in from Biglow. Hey, what is up? You're very welcome. Okay, so when I do bar chord, is that like a capo? Yes. A bar chord is like a capo. So, yeah, William named it here. Your finger is acting like a capo. 100%. Thanks, William. So if I'm there, it's just like I have a capo on, it's my E major shape. Okay. The beauty of this is you can move it around. And the other reason too is when I play with others, if I see somebody with the capo on the second fret and they're strumming open chords, I won't do that then. Of course, if you're new to jamming and joining in, it's good to like put the capo and copy what they do. But after a while, when you feel like you want to chant something, I just kind of go, okay, they're there. So I'd kind of play around and practice the caged shapes, you know, and I'd start with practicing the E and the A and then add in the C. All right, does your barred finger act like a capo? Yeah, it does, it does. Takes a lot of strength building, and it isn't something I do all night every night, but at gigs, but it does help. And as well, when you think about a song, if you put a capo up here, well, you're after cutting off all this amount of the fretboard. But if you use your caged shapes or bar chord shapes, you can be up here. And then all of a sudden go here. Like you have that ability to have oomph and low sounds or riffs. And to go high and low when you can get that index condition to be like a capo. Alrighty, so let's check. More questions. I see questions coming in here. Hey everybody, what is up? How are we all doing? Okay. What's the best way to improvise a guitar solo? Great question. The best way to improvise a guitar solo is to learn some solos first, get those under your belt. That's your vocabulary. So basically like learn a couple of classic solos and then learn some scales, like learn your pentatonic minor scale. So like if I'm here, right, so I'm going through these and let's say I've learned some solos. And then to improvise, the best thing to do is put on a backing track on YouTube and match it to the scale. So if I was learning the A pentatonic minor scale, look up A pentatonic minor scale backing track. And here's the thing, get okay with the solos not sounding great for quite a while then. We tend to compare our first efforts with the how would you say, the masterpieces we hear, like Slash, Guns N' Roses, stuff like that. And we don't have recorded evidence of Slash's first attempts at creating a solo. Like, so keep that in mind. It's so easy to compare ourselves to the end product. So this is where it gets kind of artsy and airy-fairy and a bit vague and blurry, but you just basically put in the hours of playing with the backing track, and it takes hours. Like I spent hours and hours soloing and it sounded terrible. And I was like, this doesn't sound like Slash, or this doesn't sound like Van Halen. And you just got to put in the time. And some tips then, like tactical stuff for improv. I heard a great one time. It was try and sing what you play. It will take you out of that mode of going, I gotta drill. I gotta like drill around the place and be fast. From the technical to like, we want it to be melodic first. So if you were to go do 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 do, like just try and sing what you can play, because you'll never be singing like, you'll never be singing all that stuff. So yeah, and listen to some melodies of songs that you like, and learn those as well as solos. Like this one, like, let's see if you can spot this one. You're So Vain by Carly Simon. See, it's nothing crazy, like. But what it does, it just gets you playing a bit slower, a bit more melodic, with a bit more feel, and now lend into your solos from there. So, hope that answers your question about improvising a guitar solo. That's a good place to start. Let's check it out. Any more questions coming in? No, we're good. Okay, and nice one. Epic job in the chat there, love it. Let's check over here. Okay. Now we're good, alrighty. So, then, let me see. There was another question about chord progressions lately, and chord progressions, I generally say do the key G, C, and D. So like basically you're on these three. Okay, and the reason I'd say pick those three keys is only because they contain the most amount of chords that are okay to play. So the key G contains G, C, D, A minor, B minor, E minor, whereas if I was to pick the key of A flat, we're in bar chord territory straight away and naming conventions and stuff. And if you're starting out or you're while playing, the capo can get you a long way with those different chord progressions. Alrighty, so any other questions? I've gotten through all the questions that have come in so far. So if anybody's any other questions, I am here for the hour. So I'm gonna let it roll. I'm gonna be here for the hour anyways. So if there's any songs that anybody wants to see played that I know, and no Dragon Force, I got a request for Dragon Force on Instagram this week. That isn't happening. All right, so let me see. Good. Yes, okay. I'm just going to touch on a level deeper there. I just spotted something. The standing while playing up, this playing while standing up, fret in hand is at a strange angle on the fretboard. Yeah, 100%. So with that, what you want to do is, like, when you think of playing standing up, like the gap between the strap, like even adjusting your strap a teensy amount can make all the difference. So like, if I'm here and notice the neck on the guitar, the headstock of the guitar, watch this. So even that to that is a huge difference. So I'd experiment with that for sure. Just trying to get the guitar up a little bit more. Not too much, you don't want to be up too much, but like just even that amount. So it's like not at like a 90-degree angle, it's just tilted up a bit more. Okay, so that should help with the standing and the playing. And yeah, it's just a case of putting in the time. All right, so cool. Excellent. Let me see, any other questions coming in? This could be a chilled out Q&A this evening. All good though. I'll touch a bit more in on the caged system just while we're here. The cage system, so we said it was the chords, like 5 different shapes for the one chord. And sorry, I just saw Kenny Powers join there. I don't think it's the actual Kenny Powers from Eastbound and Down, but if it is, that'd be kind of cool. So the cage system, what we want to do is we want to think about it in how it's mapped on the fretboard. So I'll go a bit more in on that. So we get the C. Now, when you play your C chord, that ring finger of the C chord is where you put your index finger here. So you get your C, you put your index where your ring finger was. And what's going to happen there is, that's going to be where you'll make your C major chord from there. Your next bar chord. So that's how you transitioned from the C up to the A. Right, so I'd spend a bit of time practicing that C up to that C. And then the next thing that happens is this. You can get your where these 3 fingers are for your C, you can get your index and put it there. So now we're getting in position for our G. And then we make our G this way. And as I said, this one's rotten. I rarely play this one. So you see the shape there. Right, so we'd C, we'd the A version of it, C, A in terms of caged, then we'd G. Now, take a look where these 2 fingers are here. You're going to get your index and put it across the 8th fret, then put on your E shape here. Right, so now that's our E shape. So we've gone C, A, G, E. And finally then, I see a question come in, I'll get to that in 1 second. And then your pinky, put your index there. That's how you get it. Okay? So we move through there. Now, the trick with this is spend a bit of time getting that original sequence, because when you do, what happens is you're going to find it'll be so much easier. And then you can map it from there. And all you do from there then is, if I started playing the C shape here, It's the same setup. I connect it with my pinky, index, G, E, and D. So that's exactly how you can move through them, right? So I basically spend time drilling that first with the cage. Now, little thing about that, you can get a lot more detailed in some scales work really well. So if I go here, so when I'm playing the caged, if I'm playing a gig and I'm going like this, after a while you can start to go, when you're on one shape, you can go, ah, this scale works around here. So it opens out the entire fretboard from being blocked in songs to being like, ah, these scales work with these chords. So that can be a cool way. Now I see a question come in. Do you have any tips for bar chords? I'm really struggling to get them sounding right. Yeah, okay. So 100%. I have tips for bar chords for sure. The first thing I'd say is remove it from bar chords to bar chord. So I'd stop trying bar chords as a subject as a whole, and I would switch it to bar chord. And then which one? The one I always go for is G. G major bar chord is the one I start with. I don't start with F. The reason is it's a bit lower down on the fretboard, a bit harder to get, so I go with G. I have, Michael, if you look up on YouTube, bar chords, the School of Guitar, I have 2 really cool bar chord videos up there that'll bring you through that. So if you want to look that up, but that's what I do, the G major bar chord, work on that, forget about, and it's a project. Yeah, 100%, good question. Treat it as a project. So Michael, whatever songs you're learning right now, keep at them. And don't try bar chord songs. Don't try bar chords in general. Just try the G major bar chord. It's a project with a pretty long timeline, in fairness. And I'd stretch that out and look for micro signs of progress. Signs of progress are, is it starting to get a little bit better? That's the only question to ask yourself each day you're trying it. And if it was a project at work, and it wasn't a nice project, because bar chords aren't nice to learn at all in the beginning, well, it wouldn't be a success at work if you did a bit of the project and you left it a week or 2 later and we'll get to that. You know, it'd be like, show up every day, do something on it every day, and look for those small signs of progress. That can definitely help, and it's G major is the one. Watch out for thumbnails online, they'll call you in to do different ones. G major, I've found, is the one I've seen most success with students over the longest time. So yeah, I hope this helps, Michael. So just aim for that one chord, and then there's another YouTube video I have. It's a short. Just enter bar chord trick. You should see my face looking pretty intense on it, but it's a bar chord trick that can help you with the G major bar chord. So if you look up both of those, pop me a comment. Let me know how it goes, and just keep the G major or switch it to, I would keep the G major. It's a project. So, and check this out. So in a nutshell, I would practice getting these 3 coming out first. Just those 3. That's 50% your bar chord sound. Then I get the index on. Practice getting those 4 strings coming out. Then I'd get my index down. Look for my elbow locked in. That's a hint about the bar chord video. And get those 2. Use the real side of the finger. One of our School of Guitar members, Dan, shared that tip in a guide lately. It was about using the side of the finger. It's really good. Okay, and yeah, and just do that. And spend a while at that. And then when the fingers get sore, go back playing open chords. Now, what would you do with this? I just do 4 down strums on that, 4 down strums on E minor. Okay, spend a while at that. Remember, we're in a project phase, not a song phase. And then I'd start adding in G, E minor, C, D. That means you'd be practicing going from D back to G. Okay, and that again is another mini project. projects everywhere. But it will really help. Because bar chords, they're just like, yeah, like they're tough. So give that a go. Pop me a comment on YouTube. Just say you came from TikTok. I'll remember, okay? But yeah, hop on that. Let me know how it's going. And how many minutes I would do, as much as it would take, like as much time as you have, depending if you have a job or you're a busy adult, a parent, it depends on your lifestyle. But I'd spend the time on it and just get it done. And just rest the hand as needed and then do the open chords. Hope this helps. Okay, we had a question around songwriting, 100%. Okay. Question from William, a bit about songwriting on guitar. Perfect. So, songwriting on guitar, the first thing I'd share is every chord progression in history has already been played. So, to stay out of the whole thing, does this sound like anything else? That was a big trap I fell into, and I've seen students fall into. Does this sound like anything else? And it probably does. It probably does. But the key thing to remember that differentiates, that makes it different, that makes your song different, is the lyrics and the story you tell. Like, you'd have your own life experiences, and I'm not going to talk too much about lyrics because it's not my thing, but it's the one thing that like differentiates everyone's songs. So tap into that. That kind of gives you a license to go with chord progressions and flip around with them. Now, when it came to songwriting on guitar, I did things like this. Now, for anybody not on YouTube, I'm going to the board and I'm going to name the chords I'm writing as I go. So I basically wrote out keys, and what I did was I would write the key G. So for example, I had these ones. And, oh, wait a second now. There we go. Perfect. So we had G, C, D, A minor, B minor, E minor. So those are some combos. And all I did was I basically was at home and I was like, do you see the way I'm just playing through the chords and I'm just hearing what sounds nice? Now, the reality with that is you could try chord progressions and from there rearrange them. And I'd start basic. And in fairness, nowadays, like especially, all the main acts songs are simplified beyond belief. They're 4 chords, a lot of them. So, yeah, so I start with that with the songwriting. I'd start with the keys, and I start with the key G, something nice. And because of that then, what that would allow you to do is, you could experiment then after a while. I'll flip back to this. Like, that C can be turned to a C minor. That B can be turned to a B7. There's little tweaks you can do. So like if I do this, if I do G, then I do C, then C minor, that would work like, and that's used in creep. And creep uses these ones. So it goes G, B, goes C, C minor. So it might sound like they're not in a key, but all they did, they're in the key G, and they're basically adding those 2 little hacks, those 2 tweaks. Now, for those of you familiar with keys, that's the key G. So G is 1, 4, 5, A is 2, 3, and 6 for the minors. So that means you can make any 4 chord a minor. That means you can make any 3 chord a major. And it's just a little thing to add to your songwriting. So the question, and then after that, what you'll find is that's basically open chords in a nutshell. And then you really got to get into the whole thing of what am I going to sing? What's my melody going to be? What are my lyrics going to be? Speaking of lyrics, I'm not a traditionalist by any means. Like I've always struggled with writing lyrics. And when ChatGPT came out, I basically went on it and I just said, listen, write me, like if I had a little thing like Jack Johnson, I don't know if you remember him, he'd like, he had that sort of nice snappy guitar sound. And just for fun, I just entered, please write me lyrics about this in the style of Jack Johnson. And then I ran it through plagiarism checker to make sure it didn't plagiarize any of his lyrics directly or anyone else's lyrics in the thing. And I just had a bit of fun with it. So if you do struggle with lyrics, that's a cool little workaround, and you can hit it in styles. And I know the debate is out there of whether AI, if AI is ruining songwriting and all that. I get it, but if you're looking for something to experiment, if it's stopping you writing your own songs with music, it's another way of doing it. So, that, William, that's the thing about the keys and what adjustments can be made. And yeah, the chord schemes, any chord progression is already out there. So it's the lyrics, it's the melody would be the big one. And it's often the melody that those court cases you see that artists get pulled up on. It's the melody that was the similarity that brought it to court and that maybe got a settlement over. More so than chords. Because you don't hear anybody going down the street singing chords, they sing melodies. So that'll be the first thing. And then very last thing on the songwriting, I did a songwriting workshop years ago, and the guy spoke about keeping the chords simple and working on the melody most. And using these things, I think he called them spikes. And it's where he said, you were on one note and then sing a higher note. And a ton of the artists do it. Like they're going like, do, 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 do. It's like they start low, then they go up high, and it creates that lift. So a ton of the melodies do that. So that's what I recommend. And then there's the opposite approach of just play around on the fretboard and see what sounds good. Yeah, that songwriting could talk for hours on songwriting, but hope that's given you some ideas. And yeah, let me know. Post in the community if you have any other questions on that for sure. Okay, can I play Sound of Silence with the chords E minor, D, C, and G? Yeah, totally. So you can't do the... Hello, darkness, my old friend. So that's the D. And then it goes to E minor. Then it goes C, G. Da, 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 C, G. Same again. Da, 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 da. I feel like everybody should have cigarette lighters in the air. So then, da, 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 C. Da, 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 G. Da, da, da. Until the sound is... That'll be most of the song, right? So those are the chords. The rhythm, like simple rhythm, is down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. That snap and stuff take a while to be laying that down in the Q&A, but it's very like if you looked up a tutorial online on how to play that song, Tina Turner, that Rollin' Rollin' one. Look for a job in the city. You can look up a tutorial on that, get the rhythm, that sort of slap rhythm, put it on this one. All right, hope that helps. Yeah, it is a great song. Thanks, Bigelow. That is awesome. Alrighty. No, loved your comment there about the pants. That is definitely the secret to plain standing up. I should have just pulled up like an Amazon shop front here and just said, get those pants. All right, so how do you know if you're good enough to gig? Oh, class, this is, okay, cool. This is from Niall. I've been playing about 10 years, play a bit of open mic and plenty in front of friends. Do I just go out and put my name out there? I struggle with rhythm the most. Okay, cool, Niall. I hope you're still on this video. Right, so how do you know if you're good enough to gig? Okay, well, first things first, I would go to 5 bars or I'd go to 10 bars. I wouldn't drink, so I have my full wits about me and what I'm watching the bands do. And I'd go to venues that I would see other people play at that are similar to me. So if you're doing a solo, it's you and your own Niall with acoustic and singing. I would go to bars that have that type of entertainment. So you can make it like, and I'm not saying to compare yourself to them, I'm saying to see what the standard is. Because you'd be amazed in a sense. Like I've been in a lot of bars, and you'd be amazed at, like, sometimes people just get a gig because they just ask for it, you know. So I'd go and I just look, and I would study that person playing like an absolute hawk. I would look at what songs they played. I would look at, like, was there any gaps in their performance, in their playing? I would look at what did they do really well. Like, were they great at talking to the crowd? Were they great at keeping the songs going? How long did they play for? I'd spend a month going around to bars. And Joe, you have your phone. You don't need to be in with a notepad. Just get your phone and just be learning. You'll spot patterns across the venues. You'll spot patterns across musicians. You'll spot patterns across songs. And then I'd turn the lens around on myself and I'd go, okay, is there any gap in my current playing ability that would make me feel like I don't deserve to be playing in these bars, or that I don't belong here, or that it isn't my thing? Whatever those, if there is anything, whatever the list is, I would basically put that at top of my practice. Just absolutely hammer it out and see what's the length. So, like, the fact you played open mic, that's brilliant, like, you know, and plenty in front of friends. And, like, here's an idea, like, the first gig I played, like, man, I wouldn't even share what age I was, but friends came to the gig, and it just felt like we were playing in front of friends. It was in a bar, like, but it was in front of friends. So that could be a nice workaround to get you there quicker too. Like, get your supportive friends to be at the gig. And here's the thing, if they come to the gig and they're giving big claps, and, like, the thing is, the bar owner won't know who your friends are, like, really. Like, and they're going up to the bar owner just saying, geez, that was a great gig. Your man, really good. They're saying that into the staff and into the bar, and then they're bigging you up and clapping and stuff like that. That adds to the environment, which can make it comfier to play a gig in the first place. So set your time, 2 hours, go around. I'd say, like, you'll get the run. The reason I say a month is because the most gigging will take place on the Saturday and Sunday night. So that's like 8 gigs you'd attend. That's 8 data points, and get the patterns and start drilling. That'd be about it, yeah. I just go for it. Like, and if you feel better, get a mate with you. Get a mate to play the gig with you. I'm trying to think. Like, really, when we started gigging, it wasn't that we thought we were good enough to gig. It was that we just asked for a gig, and somebody just gave us one, and our friends came. And do you know what it was? It was that we played that one gig, and we were unsure if we could ask back. That was kind of our metric. We're like, if your man asks us back now, we weren't too bad. So yeah, you know, that's what I'd say. But hey, listen, drop me an email, dave@theschoolofguitar.com. Drop me an email if you want to ask me anything else on that. I'll be happy to help, because once you start gigging, it's kind of hard to stop, really. I don't know, 25 years of gigging done, on and off, you know, so it's like, but no one ever told me that was good enough. It was just, I went out, got the second gig, and then you play in one bar, and somebody else finds out you're playing in another bar, and then it starts to lift, you know. There's actually there's a really cool, there's a guy I know, and he started gigging, I think in his, maybe 40s, I'm not sure. And he'd be a great guy, and I want to chat with him again, just because it's good to hear off others. Alrighty, hope that helps, Niall. Get out there, get the notes, and get gigging. Alright, you're welcome, William. Very welcome. Alrighty, any questions? It is a class song, Noel, 100%. Okay. Alrighty, anybody who's just joined, Q&A. This is happening every Monday. We've like 10 minutes left. I've taken questions around songwriting, bar chords, songwriting again, and gigging, and the whole lot. And yeah, if anybody has any questions that are not specifically like guitar technique, song focused, you know, just ask. We don't have them in the air. How do you mean? I missed out. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat while I go as well. Alrighty. Okay. Okay, we're good. Yeah, if there's any songs anybody wants to see played and how they look or anything, ask away. Thought you're asking for In the Air tonight. There's a lesson for that up too on YouTube. Alrighty. Yeah, but that's the thing about gigging. It's yeah, you're not told. But man, you just be amazed. And like the other thing too is like not like I've done both. But the thing too is keep an eye on bands that play and keep an eye on if they're drinking. Some bars give free drink, and if they're drinking and they keep drinking throughout the night, the performance will naturally dip as the night goes on. And that's worth noting, because like you want to aim to keep your performance pretty consistent from the start of the gig to the end of the gig, because Niall, if you're like getting a gig, you just don't know when the owner might pop their head in. It might be at the end of the night, it might be at the start, middle, see how it's going. So that'll be one thing as well. Just fully keep your wits about you for the starting out. I know it's very easy. I've done this a ton, like, and I don't know if you drink or not, but like I've had a pint before starting gigging just so it's easier to start, and then I have another pint, and then like there is no worse feeling in the world than drinking at a gig and you realize you've drank too much and you look at your hands going, what is going on here? And you're looking at the clock and it's like you're a boxer in a fight and the round has quite a while to go. That's all I'll say. You know, I've done gigs in the past when I used to drink where like I'd leave some songs off the set. I was like, no, fingers are gone. You know, a long time ago, but just something to keep an eye out on. Because it could be the making or losing of a gig if that doesn't go well. Proud Mary, yes. See everybody doing air rolls. Yeah, so that one like, okay, so that one like. And Noel, see how high I'm holding the guitar up like, look for a job in the city, working for a man every night. So that snap is still going. And I see I like that bar chord then. There's our A minor 7, William. Proud Mary, keep on rolling. Then right, and then you see there with the strumming, like it varies, like, and I'm using a Jazz 3-pick. That's the one I use most of the time on guitar, whether I'm strumming or not. Let's stop this here. There we go. So those will be a few bits to watch. Yeah. So yeah, totally. Yeah. So then the other thing to watch with that, you know, sometimes like the. Like if you see there the elbow movement all the way down to the hand, it's quite straight. Then we've the. And whenever I want to go faster, oh yeah, nice one, William. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, listen, if you've any question like gigging, teaching any of that stuff, like it's not like it might be the standard guitar answer stuff you'd see online, but done a ton of gigging. So I've plenty I can share about that too. So yeah, so then you can switch to power chords. And that's the advantage of knowing power chords, bar chords, and open chords, and the cage system. You can choose between them at any given stage. There was one night we were playing that at a gig, and me and my mate were playing it. And we looked over at each other, and he hit his guitar pedal, and it set off this like Thin Lizzy type sound. Like, so the next verse we're going like, or like Iron Maiden. But in that moment, you know, like if that bit of fun pops up in a gig, the more skills you have in your guitar toolkit, the more you can play. The more video games you have for your console. So yeah, so that's a fun reason to know bar chords. Okay, question in, are guitar sounds the same acoustic? Could I ask for a bit more clarification on that? Cheers, no. A bit more clarification on that question. Are guitar sounds the same on acoustic? If you're meaning like, do acoustics mostly sound the same? You got a different thing. So I'll answer that 1 second. Yeah, no worries, no, you're very welcome. My email, it's dave@theschoolofguitar.com. One of the guys might note or pop it in the chat there. I can do it. Hold on now. There we go. Alrighty, man. Drop me a mail. Let me know how it's going. That, like, and if you even have mates doing the same thing, it'd be fun. Just a few you go to a bar. Just watch out you don't freak out the person gigging that you're all just staring at them taking notes. But there's a whole lot to learn. There's a whole lot to learn. Yeah, like when I was learning first, I wasn't 18 yet, and I'd no data point. And the night I turned 18, the first thing I did was I went into a bar with my friend in Galway City here because I could. I went to see a band, and I watched the band. It was like the keys were unlocked. Like I was like, oh my God, now all the bars around the city, I can go in and see how they do things. Like it was just this mysterious world before then. So since you're over 18, like, you know, you can do it already. And yeah, that's what I'd recommend, you know. And not to be intimidated either if you see people who are like super, like some bands, some performers, like it's almost like the thing I was sharing around us comparing our initial songwriting attempts to the classics we hear. You wouldn't have seen that person gigging in the beginning. So, you know, keep that in mind too. We'd often compare ourselves to their end product. So we're down to our last minute. I can take one more question. It can be about gigging if you want. It can be about anything. Anything clean. This is a family show. So guitar sounds the same. That quick one that came in, I'm unsure what you're asking, but I'm just going to say if it's acoustics, no, like acoustics can sound quite different. So like within budget ranges, yes. But yeah, so if you want to, drop me a DM if you want to ask any more about that. Alrighty, so if there's no more questions, we can drop it here. Alrighty, and like, so lads who are here, Noel, William, thanks for making it in. The lads are in a community with me. We're in a guitar community. It's good crack, it's good fun. Crack is Irish for fun. Just wanted to clarify that as usual. But for anybody who, listen, if you're playing guitar and you want to hop in with us, it's a super group. It's the group I wish I had when I was learning guitar first. We do a call. This is a live Q&A. It's open to everybody, but we do a call on Thursdays together. We meet up and practice, and we meet up. There's questions, and we get to know each other a bit more. And there's a whole host of stuff. So if anybody wants to find out more, I'll drop the link here. Or if you want to ask me questions, and I'll drop it there on YouTube. It's basically like I'm there the whole time. It's where I hang out every day, and it's where like years ago I used to get up and check like Instagram and all those things. Like now I get up and check the platform where it is, and it's just so cool. And so yeah, so if you want to find out more, the link is there. I won't go on too much more about it, but it's the place I hang out. I'll answer questions anytime. You can DM me at any time with questions, and there's courses, there's a whole host of stuff. So if you're looking for guidance and accountability to show up and play guitar more, and aim to complete at least a song a month, and all those little technical stuff that can trip us up on guitar, you want answers and solutions to them, that's the place. All right, so for anybody else watching, you'll find it in my profile if you want to check it out as well. But most of all, thanks a million for joining. And lads, I'll see you in the community. Can't wait for the call this week. Oh, quick question. I'll answer that. Okay. Noel, quick question from Noel. Realistically, how long a day should I be practicing? I would say an hour is what popped up into my mind there. Like when I saw your question first, Noel, I was like, an hour. At least 30 minutes. And then on the opposite side of that, as much as you want or as much as you can. But what you do in that time is more important than the time you put into it. So, sorry, this microphone is pulling down the top. So, like, put it this way. 2 scenarios. Scenario 1. You say for the next week you're going to practice for an hour. And you do a ton of stuff you can already do. Scenario 2, you say you do 30 minutes and you go 80-20 on it. You spend 80% of your time within that 30 minutes doing stuff that, like the G sharp diminished, singing and playing, rhythm, stuff like that. You will make far more progress than the hour, you know. So like what I'd suggest is aim for 30 if you can keep that consistent. Get the stuff done that needs to get done, and then whatever else happens, I'll say that comment. It's like whatever else happens, then after that, do more. You know, so it's kind of like yeah, exactly, William. Yeah, like a little bit every day is better than 2 hours twice a week. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, William, you said it there. And it's yeah, just those little things, and then go off and have fun with the rest of the stuff. Like when I had guitar on a Saturday, the first thing I always did that day was what I was given to practice. And that's what I focused on. That's what I practiced until I didn't need the sheet. That would be 11 o'clock. By 5 o'clock that evening, I didn't need the sheet. And then I got that going. That would be the new stuff. But you know yourself, you get bored. So then I'd play more of the stuff I was already playing, the stuff I'm maintaining. And then I had extra time for like doing fun stuff. Like I'd look up songs just to try. Do you kind of surf around YouTube? Did I steal that jazz pick off William? No, I didn't. Technology is not there yet. The old virtual reality. So, but the Jazz 3s are great picks. Alrighty, Noel, I hope that answers your question. But for sure, drop me a shout in the community if you want any more clarification on that way, or we can talk about it on the next call. All right. Alrighty, I'm going to wrap it here. I'm going to stop them one at a time. Thanks a million for joining, and remember, this will take place every week on a Monday for the next while. This is an experiment, see how it'll go. So by all means, make it next week. Come with questions and about anything to do with guitar, gigging, songwriting, whatever. If I can answer it, I will. Alrighty, I'm going to stop it here. Thanks so much for making it, and I'll see you all very soon.